That's not what we want.
Okay, keep going.
Is this recording? Is it? Can we redo? Can we redo, please?
Yeah.
Alright.
Just start whenever you want. This one that started.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mr. Daratony, and
my name's Dobbertin, and I'm a sophomore.
Bro, you don't even go here, dude.
Okay, man.
Wow, dude, come on. Oh my god.
That's it. That's all we got.
That's cool.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. Alright, so today we're sitting here with Dobbertin and Mitch Daratony, and we're going to talk to them a little more in depth about their platforms and the things that they want to see on UNC Charlotte's campus. So before we get into all of that, can each of you tell me a little bit about yourselves?
Alright, my name is Mitch Daratony. I'm a sophomore here at UNC Charlotte. I'm in the the Bell College of Business, marketing major. I've been on SGA for 2 years now, first as a freshman class president, and then secondly as the Secretary for Athletic Affairs, working on traditions and administrators and the like. My favorite hobby is skydiving. I love to skydive. I am a raft guide at the Whitewater Center, and I also am a college agent for HBO.
And my name's Dobbertin. I'm a sophomore here as well, and an accounting finance double major. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, so an out-of-stater. I've served on the Student Body Center for 2 years now. Right now I serve as Organizational Ways and Means Chairman, so I deal with student funding and then event funding on campus for all student organizations. I was an orientation counselor this past summer, so that was a great experience. Favorite hobby is basketball, and I'm currently just applying for internships, so unemployed.
Sounds fun. So obviously you two are very involved in Charlotte's campus. So you've mentioned before that you were Secretary of Athletic Affairs. Okay, and you touched on traditions in your platforms. So can you elaborate a little bit more on what traditions mean to you and what is it that you want to see done? Okay, so traditions for me go along with just building up the pride in their school. An analogy I always make is if someone was to have a norm in their hand, they threw it on the ground and stomped on it. Me as a Niner, I would get infuriated. And right now, we might not see that from some students, but as we build traditions, we're such a young school. I want to build traditions and help implement that will really bring along this new pride in UNC Charlotte. And then, do you want me to say some of the traditions I'm thinking about? Yeah.
Okay, so this last year in my position, we implemented a thing called the Hype Squad, and we did it with basketball. It's where we made kind of like a spirit tunnel in the basketball tunnel where the basketball players came out and these students went wild and hyped up the team. And after the game, we asked the team if they liked it, and they said it was absolutely crazy, and they were so hyped up, and it was awesome. We're looking to bring that to football now, and we're going to look to bring that to tailgating. It's moved now to closer to the stadium, and the football players will be going through the tailgate, and the marching band will be going through the tailgate. So just new traditions where we're getting more engaged with the students, moving the student section during the basketball game, so we weren't on the side anymore. There wasn't any barrier. Now students are right there in the game. That was a new tradition we did this year, and you saw the 49 or 40 across the court. Stuff that is like, you go to those games and you're creating memories that you'll always remember, and makes you just love Charlotte that much more. Other traditions are non-sports traditions, such as when you come here as a new student, we want to look into giving you a home jersey. When you graduate, you get an away jersey. That's a piece of Charlotte that you'll be able to carry on with you your whole life. It's those jerseys that you always remember, the memories of the games that you went to in those, where you wore them around school. So those are some of the traditions. There's so many more to come about. I plan on, if I am to win, implementing the Traditions Committee again this year. We saw it wildly successful this past year.
So I see you guys have a lot of school spirit with your lapel pins and your ties. So is it more to traditions than just sporting events, or would it be something that all of UNC Charlotte can participate in? Because of course not everyone likes basketball, football, baseball, or any of those sports.
Yeah.
So how would you get more of the students who don't go to sporting events?
Great. So we're not an event planning board, but one event that we would love to see implemented and we would love to voice that we want to see it done is with the Greek system. So we see the PHA and the cultural fraternities. They do a step show, they do a step show, and we see such great attendance, and that's bringing so many people together that usually wouldn't come together. And we hear so many great things of it every year that we want to do it throughout the whole Greek system. So the cultural sororities and then the IFC fraternities, we would love to bring them together and do their own show, and we know that would be wildly successful too. That would be great for diversity. Also, traditions, we are growing so great as an academic school too, so a tradition of excellence too. So we want the tradition of when you graduate from here, your diploma or your degree holds so much weight, and it just comes from the tradition of excellence. And that comes along with traditions such as something we want to implement that is called the town hall meetings. What town hall meetings would be is senators from Senate of respective academic colleges would meet with administrators from those academic colleges, and they would hold an open forum for students, and they would get feedback from the students of what they like, what they don't like, and new initiatives that they want to push in their specific academic college, and that would raise the tradition of excellence. So.
Sounds good. So Jared, you're part of a fraternity, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's the name of your fraternity?
Lambda Chi Alpha.
Lambda Chi Alpha. Okay, so I've heard of you all before.
Okay.
So with the recent news blast with SAE fraternity and the unfortunate experience and explosion that has came about with that,
yes.
How would you focus on creating more so of a family dynamic with students on campus? Because a lot of students felt that our SAE chapter was involved, or they have the same moral sense as the chapter of it. So what do you think about that?
I think when anything arises in Greek life nationally, you're always going to see specific universities pick out their own chapters at their home institution. That's not something that's new. Every year I feel like something arises in Greek life that makes Greek life look terrible.
Right.
I think our university definitely does a better job of that, but I don't necessarily think that we are as integrated as we can be. I think something Mitch definitely talked about within the Greek system is having the IFC and NPHC fraternities definitely do the step show like how PHA and the cultural sororities do now. I think Mitch has touched a lot on it, but creating a tradition and a sense of community here on campus, that's definitely something that we want to look into. And that encompasses, I know some stuff that me and Mitch have talked about is on graduation day. So a lot of universities, they do special things, or they have these weird, intricate traditions like throwing something in a fountain on campus. Something that the traditions committee kind of brainstormed this year is we have the Norm the Niner statue on the front of campus, and on graduation day, why don't you just throw a penny in there, wishing yourself good luck. Something that SGA can do with that is we can take all those pennies and then we can sponsor a local charity or philanthropy event, and go ahead and just donate all the money that we raise. It's something small, but I think just creating traditions that aren't always athletically based is something that just brings about can just bring together any community. And here at Charlotte, me and Mitch definitely want to create a sense of community. And how we will do that is really up to the students. We really have spent a lot of time in brainstorming how to reach out via social media, so that's why we have the hashtag #TraditionBegins. I think that's something that maybe if elected we'd keep around once we enter office, just because we need a better way to reach the student voice. And I don't feel like SGA right now is at that point where we've done a good job of bringing together the students. I don't feel like students understand what SGA can do for them or what SGA has done for them. And so I think when it comes to diversity, SGA I think can play a big part in that.
Sounds good. So you touched on it briefly about SGA and not being so transparent with the students. There have been bills that are passed, one of them being the gender-neutral restrooms, and also the deal with the transcripts. Well, that deal is in the process of being passed. So what can you do if in office to make SGA more transparent? Okay,
I'm glad you brought up both of those. So I'm going to speak on one and he's going to speak on the other. So I'm going to speak on the gender-neutral bathrooms. I will say I fully support them, but I need to clarify with everyone what those are that they're approving. So when we're saying gender neutral, a lot of people think it's specifically for transgender students. But why I support it so heavily is because that is just such a small reason of why we're supporting them. I did a lot of research this week after the debate because I that question came up and I wanted to know a lot more, and I spoke to the chancellor even about it. What it is we're doing that because it's going to be a single stall bathroom, and it's going to be almost basically a unisex bathroom. And why they're doing it is handicapped people with a differing gender assistant that's helping them. Sometimes they're uncomfortable going into the public bathroom. So the reason why they are doing gender neutral is so they can have privacy and go into the bathrooms to do what they need to do with their handicap. And then the second thing is it just serves as a family bathroom also. So say a dad and a little girl needs to go to the bathroom. Sometimes it is really uncomfortable bringing your daughter into a men's bathroom, so there will be it will be as a family bathroom too. And then obviously, of course, we're such a diverse campus. It will tailor to the transgender community also. And I say I support that too, is because we want people on this campus to feel like they're comfortable everywhere. And you know, that just brings about another diversity dynamic to this campus, and I think that's going to propel this school to greatness. We're already such a great campus, and it's just another step to being the best in the state.
So there are, for both positions, there are many responsibilities that directly impact the students. So what is it that you can do as far as for vice presidents? You have to run the Senate, correct? Mm-hmm. And for president, you are basically the head of, the school, and basically you are the, what's the word I'm looking for? You are the
consolidated voice.
Thanks. Yeah. So, so what is it? What makes you feel so qualified for these positions, and how are you going to excel in these positions?
Okay. I'll start off. I truly think I'm qualified, and a part of me being so qualified is that I've chosen such a great partner, and we work so great as a team that we have encompassed all aspects except for judicial, all aspects of SGA. So I came in as a freshman. I was on a class council. I was a freshman class president. So I understand everything to do with the class council, what they do, how they can be more integrated this year if we were to win. And then on exec board this past year, I really saw how everything really works within all secretaries, with the chief of staff, with the vice president, and then with the president, and saw who he interacts with, how he interacts with administrators, how he gets things done, how all of the secretaries get the students' opinion, and then during the exec meetings we consolidate all the ideas from all the respective secretaries and make reports for the president. And then he makes the some of the decisions with the administrators in the students' best interest. And then I understand what sitting on the board of trustees entails. And so working with them, that is such a huge thing to sit on the board of trustees. That's such a huge decision-making position too. And I have worked closely with Sirio, and I've spoke with board of trustees at events. And I've met with the chancellor several times. I really do understand what that has to entail with all the decision making, and how much power you have through the student voice. And then with Senate, I know how Senate works because we were trained this past year with Senate. So exec board and Senate went into a training together. And it was a retreat, but we learned, they never split us up a lot. They split us up maybe 1 or 2 times, but for the most part we got trained together. And so I understand that when we need to get something done, when the students have a voice, I know that we can write it up right away in Senate and get that going, get the ball rolling on that new voice that we've heard. And so it's just stuff like that. And then just with funding, getting just the grant process, Senate, a little more. I know a little bit about judicial, but judicial, he has such great. Jared has such great knowledge of that, and so where I'm lacking, he makes up for, and where he's lacking, I make up for. So we really do. I feel that we are both qualified because we can work so well together and get things done when they need to get done. So as soon as we hear a voice, we can get rolling on that right away. So and then
yeah. So I think me and Mitch both feel very, very comfortable with stepping into this role if elected, and a lot of it is because we have had leadership positions on campus. I feel like when you get involved on campus, it's this contagious thing that you just want to do more for your university. And I wish there were more students that would get overly involved at times, because it can do so much for your confidence, your professional skills, and it also just gives you a sense of pride in your university. I think that's where me and Mitch stand right now. I mean, Mitch spoke for an entire class. He spoke for the entire freshman class at one point. I was the face of UNC Charlotte to 7,000 incoming students. Being in that role definitely puts you on this pedestal almost, and makes you take pride in what you do, and makes you want to be this bigger voice, because to all these students that we would represent as SGA president and vice president, you can do so much in such a small time. And I think the students right now are looking for this way to make changes in their everyday lives, but they just don't know how to right now. And so I feel like what makes me feel qualified to be vice president is because a lot of what vice president does is internal matters. And I don't think that the vice president has always been as big of a face as the president, and that's something that I think Mitch and I can definitely improve on. I feel like past years, it's not always known who the vice president is. And so Mitch and I work great as a team, and we plan on being a lot of things, dual attacking things. Yeah, that's about it.
So Charlotte is always in the limelight, and anything that is done in the dark has always come to light. So there have been rumors that you were arrested, and we wanted to understand like a little bit more on your side, because I don't want to attack you on anything, but you've mentioned about judicial board. Our judicial board doesn't tolerate underage drinking or disorderly conduct or anything like that. So as a representative of UNC Charlotte, how did that situation impact you, and how do you want to change the face of that?
So a little background. So yes, I was arrested in a way in Georgia. So Georgia under arrest for all underage drinking tickets, regardless of if you blow a .01, you still get arrested. So that was the case this past October, and I guess undergoing that experience definitely changes how you are viewed as a leader, and both how you view yourself. And so it was definitely a huge learning curve, and I've never claimed to be a perfect student, a perfect person, and I think when anyone messes up, it's a learning experience, and you have to learn from it. You have to adapt to it. And so, if anything, I feel like it almost makes me more relatable to students, because not every leader in the world is going to be perfect. We see that on a daily basis. People are going to disagree with people. But I don't always think you should be held to your mistakes, because they are learning moments. I have talked with the Dean of Students office, and I self-reported myself and went through that process, but then I later found out they would have never found out because it did happen in Georgia, so me and the Dean of Students office got to know each other a little bit better from that. But again, it's taken me a while to get back up on the horse, and I guess look at myself in a different light and feel more confident again. But yeah, I'm looking forward to learning from this.
I think that really shows your integrity with you self-reporting yourself, and that just shows that maybe we can trust our future leaders. So my last question is, if you have anything that you want the students to know about you and some things that you haven't been able to touch on, what are those things, and what is the last thing that you want students to remember about the Daratony Dobbertin campaign?
Okay, wow. So one thing is, it's such a great head-to-head debate, and such a head-to-head campaign that we've seen this year. But there's been a lot of things that, sometimes you can't read a book by its cover, or you can't judge a book by its cover. And I've personally heard some things this week. And I would not be running for this position if I did want to single groups out that I wanted to advocate for. I said this in my debate. I said this in all the other groups I've spoke to. I do not see color. I do not see race. I do not see gender, and I do not see sexual orientation. I'm truly running for this position because I see a fellow Niner, and I need to get their voice out. So this position gives you the ability to do that. I want to advocate for everyone, and this position just gives you the power to do so much for even just one voice, one single voice. We have such a diverse campus, and there's so much you can do with that. There's so many initiatives being pushed on this campus that we can implement new things. I'll touch on Bonnie Cohn's dream. This is one thing that in my office I am going to look into. I'm going to see if I can get done. But Bonnie Cohn's dream, there is a prayer house that she wanted to be built right next to where she's laid down to rest. And she put that in her dream, and we actually have, a lot of people don't know, is we have a Bonnie Cohn's Dream organization that works on everything that was in her dream. And so if I can get that prayer house built, and the biggest interest was from the Muslim Student Association. They came to the Tuition and Fees Board last year and spoke on it. And it really sparked something in me, because I am religious, and if I could get a building where it would further make a religious organization more comfortable here on campus, then I'm all for it. But I truly want to say, I feel that if I was elected, I'm ready to step in and ready. I would say get the ball rolling, but Jared and I have been in SGA for 2 years. That we've been working on things since we've gotten in that we truly want to keep working on. And Sirio has started so many great things this past year that we want to continue also. So, yeah. And then whatever Jared wants to say.
Yeah, so I think me and Mitch a lot, if again elected, we want to continue this idea of excellence that's going on within the North Carolina system that people think of when they think of Charlotte. So we're starting to stop being that up-and-coming university and starting to become a well-established university. We definitely want to continue that. Me and Mitch have attended a chancellor's event, and we met the NC State Chancellor, and I think the biggest message that this university needs to send to the NC system is that we are here, and you need to watch out for us. Because this university is continuing to grow, and Charlotte's going to be a very, very cool place. It's a very exciting place, and more to come.
Definitely. Well, if you want these two students to really get your voice amplified, then make sure that you vote for Mitch and Jared. Thank you so much for everything. Right. It was nice talking to you, and best of luck.
All right, go Niners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, my name is Brittany Jones.
And my name is Chloe Vines.
And we are two sizzling noble Niners that you don't want to mess with.
Hi. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Nice meeting you all. All right. So today we're going to sit down with the students who are running for the presidential campaign. And today I'm sitting with Brittany Jones and Chloe Vines. And I'm going to talk to them a little bit more about what's their mission and their vision for UNC Charlotte and how they can be an impact on all the Niners. So, how are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, I'm doing well. All right, so first off, just to get the ball rolling a little bit, can you tell the students a little bit about yourselves and who you are?
My name is Brittany Jones. I'm a political science major and a junior.
My name is Chloe Vines. I'm a marketing major. I'm a sophomore.
Okay, so can you tell me the things that you were involved in before you decided to run for president and vice president?
Okay, so I was originally on the sophomore class council, but that kind of faded on and off. And I am also a part of National Society of Collegiate Scholars and the Black History Club. We're actually the president and vice president and the founders of the Black History Club.
Like Brittany said, we are the vice president and president of the Black History Club. I'm on the sophomore class council currently. I do a lot of volunteering outside of the school. That's pretty much it.
Alright, sounds good. So you guys are really active in the community, in the Charlotte community, so
yes, ma'am.
that is awesome. So if you were involved with SGA, what were your roles with that? So you said you were part of sophomore class council during your year, and you are currently involved now, so what are your roles with sophomore class council?
I am the representative. So whenever we have our, we have like weekly meetings, and we basically, it's not really like, I'm not sure if she handed us roles. She just made everybody representatives pretty much. And there's like a treasurer and a director of community engagement and a director of events. But there's like 20 of us, so it's a lot of us. And we all help equally make reservations for things. We brainstorm about events we can have, community service events we could have. It's all really one big community. We all share the work.
And what about you, Brittany?
I will say that SGA wasn't something that I pinpointed until this year, so not much with SGA.
So why did you wait until this year to get involved with the SGA?
So my sophomore year, I did run for sophomore class presidency against Brandon Nixon. I ended up losing. And I had a wonderful platform, even though class presidents aren't really supposed to have a platform. And I decided that since I'm a rising senior, this was the perfect time to bring that platform back out and put a lot of emphasis on it and important things that I see that UNC Charlotte could better itself with.
Okay. So could you tell me a little bit about your platform that you have now, and what are your hard strategies that you're going to use to implement this platform?
Okay, so our platform consists of diversity and inclusiveness, and the main goal is to include every single student,
Bring everyone together,
and make a stronger Niner community by incorporating individuality and a sustainable environmental university.
We're including everyone, so like traditional students, non-traditional students, transfer students, disability, international. We want everyone to come together because everyone's kind of in their own little things.
And at the end of the day, after everybody feels included and we begin to bridge the gap between faculty and students and SGA and students, we can then begin to build better school spirit and everything else that UNC Charlotte seems to be lacking.
First, we all have to come together.
But to implement it, the programs that already exist at UNC Charlotte, we want to promote them. Like, we have many programs that a lot of students are not hip to. We have, like in the Health and Wellness Center, we have self-defense classes, and we aim to promote things like that.
Okay, sounds good. So, like you said before, we have a lot of organizations on campus. We have close to 400 organizations, but not all of them are active. So with the increase of so many organizations, our budgeting and our funding is a little bit strained. So what are your goals as far as helping every organization have the appropriate assistance and to alleviate the stress of funds?
What we were talking about doing is maybe like you said, some of them are not active, so maybe putting in requirements for you to get funding, and like maybe the bigger, or I don't want to say the bigger, the more requirements you meet or to a certain standard is how much funding you can get. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, not everyone is going to get the same funding, probably because people like, well, the big organizations to me are organizations like BSU. I hear a lot in. CAB is really big, of course, but
CAB already gets the general funding.
But so little smaller organizations that are smaller than them might not get as much because they don't do as much.
An example of that is we just founded the Black History Club. We don't need any money right now. We're still trying to get the ball rolling. And even when we do, we still won't need money because what would the money be for? T-shirts or, you know.
Right. So as you said before, you are founders of the Black History Club. So how are you going to be able to balance your role as vice president and president? How are you going to balance that and still run your organization?
That is something we were talking about too. We both got it up and running this year. We have a lot of people that are responding and want to be very participating in it, I guess I can say. So I'm not sure if we're necessarily going to have those roles next year, president and vice president.
I plan to keep that role, and like Chloe said, there's many people that are capable. There's 8 other members that were founding members with us, and they are completely capable of running this club without us. So, but I plan on keeping that position even if we are elected as president and vice president of UNC Charlotte. I think that it is very important as a college student to be able to balance and be able to prioritize and be able to have multiple things going on. So I plan on having an important role here and an important role here, and being able to give the same amount of attention to both.
Brittany said it is about balance. I just want to make sure I have 3 jobs right now, you know, trying to do all this everything. So next year, I'm pretty sure I will still have to work to pay my rent. So I don't want to take on too much and be not living up to the standards I should be with something. So as long as I can, everything is handled.
Sounds good. So talk about balance and how you're going to balance everything. What does balance have to do with being a Niner? So how would, what is your idea of the ideal Niner or the ideal student, and how would you be able to connect with them?
Okay, so we have a Noble Niner code, and I can't name everything that it says off of there, but it was like integrity, scholarship. I feel as if being a Niner, what was the question again?
How do you connect with those Niners?
Okay, connecting with the Niners around campus.
Anywhere. Connecting with the Niners, like connecting with international students, non-transfer students. What is the ideal Niner to you, and how would you connect with them?
Okay, the ideal Niner to me is an all-around Niner. So being able to, exactly what we just talked about, being able to balance and connecting, me, myself personally, connecting with someone that is not involved in something that I'm involved with, or that has the same kind of background, is, I kind of really don't understand the question. I really don't.
So if you were elected in a position and you had to go out, you're basically the face of all the Niners, your entire student body, and that incorporates non-traditional students, international students, and freshmen, everyone. So how would you be able to connect on those different playing fields with those Niners, and what would your strategies be on that?
Okay, I think I understand the question a little more. Our platform is basically including everyone, and we definitely pinpointed international students and transfer students, non-traditional students, and it's a plan or promoting programs to make it so everybody is involved, because I know specifically, like, some organizations that we reached out to, they were really happy about our platform because they feel like they're their own little group on this big campus that promotes diversity, and this really is one of the most diverse campuses. So in order to reach out more and make them feel more a part, even myself, make me feel more a part, just keep on promoting the programs that we already have and reaching out, trying to make SGA more transparent.
Polling stations. So not only for SGA elections, like we want to have polling stations in places with high traffic, like the Union or Prospector, which is quick and convenient for you to go up and vote. But we want to have it for issues too, like we should have had it so that we could walk up and vote on if we wanted gender neutral bathrooms here, because it's our campus and it affects all of us. So we feel like everyone's voice should be heard, and not many people right now they don't vote for SGA elections, so we don't feel like they're really going to vote for stuff like that either. So we're trying to make it more convenient for them to vote, and they should be able to vote on things like this, since it directly affects us.
So for both positions, there are many responsibilities, including running Senate, working with legislative and judicial branches, and giving a lot of speeches. Why do you feel that you are qualified to be the student body president?
Right now, I feel like no one that has never been in that position is qualified until you're actually put on the spot. You're meeting these people that are so important to our campus. You have sweaty palms like I have now. You're answering hard questions that you really need to be intellectual about and you need to give thought to. So I feel like I have experience like handling other things other than my academics, but actually I don't feel like I am qualified to be student body president because of the requirements that they ask from, like the GPA and being in good standing with the university. But I feel like ultimately no one is qualified to be able to do all of these things that you learn while you're in the actual position, if that makes sense.
So why do you feel like you're qualified to be the vice president?
Pretty much like she said, I meet the requirements, and I feel like a lot of people are have some controversy about if we're required. I mean, if we are qualified to be president and vice president, because we are not on the higher positions of SGA. But I feel like that shouldn't determine if we're qualified or not, because that's a really small community, and if you guys just want to keep rotating in that, I feel like that's not fair. So I feel like as long as you have a goal to better the campus and a vision, and you're hardworking, determined, you really want to better the campus, then you're qualified.
So you believe that SGA should change and new people should be on board every year, or what are your thoughts on that?
I believe that the best candidate should be student body president and vice president. But I just don't think it's fair for people to say the best candidates are only people that are in SGA right now. Because I feel like there are so many great people that didn't get picked to be on someone's board or something like that. And that doesn't mean they're not qualified just because they didn't get a chance.
And of course, everybody has the same opportunity as the people that we're running against. Like, we could have been in SGA in a higher position our freshman year, but that's the past. Like, it just so happened to work this way, if that makes sense.
So Charlotte is a growing city, and it's really one of the second fastest growing cities in our nation. How do you think that Charlotte's growth will affect the university?
The chancellor talked on this yesterday, and he basically was talking about the light rail coming and how it will be easier for students to get on and off campus, and it opens it up to Charlotte City in general, not just our campus, and how welcoming our campus is. And I don't feel like Charlotte growing bigger will affect anything, because we already have people that don't even go to Charlotte on and off campus. We also have things like the 49er Transit that's about to be up and running, and it will allow students to be on one side of campus and go to the next side quicker than a Safe Ride and the buses that we already have. So I feel like things like that are helping us adjust to UNC Charlotte growing.
So do you think this will affect your community outreach and incorporating diversity, or do you think this will enhance it? What are your thoughts?
I think it will enhance the community outreach.
The bigger, the better.
Yeah.
So
the
bigger the communities, the more people involved that are wanting to reach out to different types of people.
So we have a new bill that's in process of being passed regarding transcripts, and this bill basically states that transcripts sent to your jobs or to other schools will have your ranking amongst your class and your courses and your ranking of students throughout UNC Charlotte. So how do you feel about this bill, and what are your thoughts on that?
We weren't aware of that bill, clearly. Thank you for that information. But that sounds very similar to a transcript from high school. So that's actually the exact information from high school, and that's what got us here into college. So I don't feel like there is a problem with that. From what I heard, if there was something deeper than that, then...
So basically, like, the setup is, let's say you're taking a class, you're taking Public Speaking 101, and you're in the class and you have it'll show your ranking in that class, so how well you did in that class as by yourself out of the entire students that took the class, and then it'll also show how you did versus all the courses that teacher taught.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So if she taught 3 public speaking classes, then it'll show your ranking from those 3 public speaking classes. So is that?
I feel like it's not really necessary, because that doesn't. It could be. Let's say there's like 500 people in the courses that she's taught, and all of us got A's, but I got the lowest A, so I could be in the lowest rank. So I feel like it doesn't really help anything.
And I mean, I guess I would have to sit down with someone that that talked about this bill and wanted it passed, because I can't really understand what's the importance of having that information up there.
Very true. So, as you all know, you touched on it briefly about the gender-neutral bathrooms. There's been a lot of controversy that's been stirring around with that. Do you all support the bill? What are your feelings, your thoughts about that bill, and how do you think this will benefit UNC Charlotte students?
I personally support it. I feel like, I'm not sure how they plan to implement. Do you know if the gender-neutral bathrooms are in every bathroom, or if they're going to build
No, they have a
bathrooms?
listing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I feel like that's fine. If you don't want to go in them, don't go in them.
After reading the article, because I'm not against it, but I was a little confused. I didn't understand. I thought that women's bathrooms and men's bathrooms was fair game for everyone, and I was a little confused, because wouldn't you be a little surprised if you saw a man in your bathroom? But I looked it up, and they have their own, or we have our own bathrooms, and me and Chloe, if we're gonna run off of inclusiveness, we can't be against it, you know. So I feel like this is including everybody, and this is making them, or everybody, feel included. So that's
we're supporting.
That's valid. Okay, so there have been a lot of complaints about parking and issues with parking passes, and there's limited spaces and parking passes are too high. What are your thoughts on that, and how would you change the parking systems here?
We've talked to some people about parking, and they're basically saying that's not our jurisdiction. However, I'm pretty sure they're building more parking. They just won't really let us do much about it.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about parking. A couple of years ago, or it might have been last year, somebody's platform was basically focusing on parking and getting more parking, and he ran off of that, and there is nothing you can do about parking. Our campus is so big. What do you expect? Like, traffic, some days you can get on and off campus in 5 minutes, and some days you can be stuck on campus for 20 to 30 minutes. So I feel like any big university is going to have a traffic problem. And also, with the light rail coming, if you choose to ride the light rail, you can be on and off campus.
That should be better.
It kind of defeats the whole backup of traffic, so people can get where they got to go a little quicker.
And to touch on parking passes, those really are too expensive, but there's nothing we can do about it.
Okay, so as you all know, Charlotte is always in the limelight, and there's always something going on with UNC Charlotte. There was an issue. Are any of you all Greek? Yes. Okay. So there was an issue with SAE and the chapter in Oklahoma, and a lot of people were taking their frustrations out on the SAE chapter on UNC Charlotte. What are your thoughts on this, and how could you combat all of the issues that go on nationally that affect Charlotte locally?
That's a good question.
I wouldn't automatically start turning my nose up at the SAE members on our campus or any other campus, but I will say that those boys that were chanting whatever they were chanting, this had to be some type of tradition, and this is what SAE was built off of, or else they wouldn't be. Well, if they were built off of this, I feel as if they were built off of this because they wouldn't be chanting it, and all of them participating, chanting, clapping their hands. Like, I feel like you cannot punish every SAE member, but that particular chapter made everyone look bad, and that's just like one African American male that does something bad, and then you start saying all African Americans.
So picking up on the stereotype.
Touch on what she said. I feel like they were bad apple on the tree. So I'm not gonna look at any. I know a couple of SAE members. So I'm not gonna turn up my head at them or anything, because from how I know them, they are good boys. They've never expressed any racism or anything to me. So it's not fair of me to. Oklahoma, you're a homeboy. So I feel like we shouldn't look into them, and they didn't do anything wrong. That was somewhere far away from UNC Charlotte. They shouldn't be punished here or anything like that.
So, as I said before, like, you know, UNC Charlotte is always in the limelight, and, you know, whatever is done in the dark always comes to light. So, there have been rumors about people acting out and just acting disorderly, and the alcohol involved in all of these scenarios. So, as you know, our judicial system is fair, and it doesn't tolerate underage drinking or disorderly conduct, especially from members who are like representations of UNC Charlotte. So, as a representative of not only the student body, but of UNCC and Charlotte as well, how do these accusations affect your run, and what are you doing to combat those rumors?
For me personally, with alcohol or any of those things like kickbacks or anything, I feel like we're all in college. We've all probably dabbled in some stuff that we weren't supposed to, and we learn from it. So any disorderly conduct that I have, it doesn't represent me. I've never been arrested. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket or anything. So if I don't recall myself acting up anywhere, if there's any rumors like that. But there are some things I've done that I'm not proud of and that I've learned from and that I won't do in the future, but it doesn't represent me, and anybody that knows me can tell you, or anybody that's not who I am.
So, what are some last thoughts or word of advice for deniers out there?
I was about to answer the
Oh, I
question.
didn't know that.
So, to just start.
Mhm.
To clear the air about that, at the beginning of the year, I threw a house party, and the police shut it down because there was too many people at the house party. I ended up getting a fine, and I got reprimanded by Aspen in UNC Charlotte, but it's not on my record. I was never arrested. Alcohol was involved, because if anybody says that they went to a house party or a kickback and alcohol was not there.
She is 21.
I'm 21. And also, I feel like this really should have been a requirement, and although I wasn't arrested, I feel like maybe to be a student body president and be the representing UNC Charlotte, it should have been looked into, because I did go sit down with some of the advisors and the people over SGA, and all they cared about was the requirements that are on the surface. And I feel like you should dig deeper, and if something is on your record, it wouldn't be very good for you to be representing UNC Charlotte.
So you want students to know that you're more than just surface deep. There's something deeper to you and your platform, correct?
Yes, but nothing, there's no, yes.
Yeah. So it's clear that these two have nothing to hide. So what are your last thoughts and things that you want the students to know? Why should we vote for Chloe and Brittany?
My last thoughts on this, I feel like everybody should vote for Chloe and I, because we are stepping out of our comfort zone. We are stepping into something that we're not as familiar with as the people we are running against. And we are really trying to bring change and bring a different face to SGA. Me and Chloe were talking, and we came to the conclusion, even if people don't vote for us and we don't win, after this whole experience, people will look back and say, I can do what they did too, and we can get the ball rolling, and we can see, eventually we can see different types of people trying to be an SGA, whether they were a part or whether they're just now getting involved with anything. So
we were looking back into previous people that have run and stuff. There are a few like people that, hey, I haven't seen you SGA at all. Like there are a few of those people that just popped up like kind of like we did. But that's like perfectly fine. The main thing I want my last thoughts are just, if anything, don't not vote for us because we're not in SGA now, because we are fully capable of handling the duties and responsibilities that are given upon us. And just because we're not in SGA now, we can adapt just like the people that are in SGA now adapted. And I just don't want that to be why people don't vote for us. They're not in SGA, they don't know what they're talking about. We do, and we're fully capable of bringing about change.
Right. So if you want these two young ladies as the president and the vice president who are going to give you some change, then make sure that you head to the polls on the
24th and 25th of March.
At vote.uncc.edu.
Exactly. So get to voting. Thank you all for coming, and I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Don't forget to vote.
March 24th and 25th.
Vote.uncc.edu.
And go Niners! Woo! Yeah!